These are the rules of the game. Actions speak louder than words.
Action Sports, only on your World of Champions Supersport. Coming up on Action Sports, we travel to Midrand for all the thrills and spills of the Mixed Opens Cricket IPT, as well as both the men's and women's open divisions. The Action Cricket Arena in Midrand played host to the 2011 Mixed Opens and Men's and Ladies Tournaments. Held over the course of 6 days, the three events attracted some of the country's finest players to Gauteng to do battle for supremacy in their divisions. First up on court was the final of the Mixed Opens. Due to the physical demands placed on the body by Action Cricket, a proper warm-up routine is essential to avoid injury. Younger players can learn a lot from watching these seasoned campaigners in action, even before a ball has been bowled. With KwaZulu-Natal taking on Northern Gauteng, both captains were expecting a tough encounter.
It's going to be a tight game. There's no doubt it's going to be a tight game. Northerns always bring a good game. We were fortunate enough we beat them in the round robin, so we're expecting a really tough game today.
Oh, it's going to be a tough one. We've played each other twice already. 2 close encounters, so anything on the day, whoever wants it most is going to take it.
KZN qualified for the title match by virtue of their exemplary record over the course of the week. They won all 8 of their matches played and looked like getting off to a good start when batting first. The KZN openers looked untroubled against a bowling attack lacking penetration up front. However, what they were missing in firepower, they more than made up for in accuracy and the ability to hold a good line and length. They did a fine job of keeping the run rate of KZN in check. However, it wasn't always as disciplined as the coaching staff would have wanted, as wides conceded continued to help KZN's cause. Northerns did manage to limit the extras and in doing so built pressure that KZN tried in vain to relieve. They did an exceptional job in restricting the opening pair of Pravesh Shankar and Kaylee Stadler to just 16 runs in their 4 overs. The KZN duo of Ronald Freilink and Hayley Wheeler were in next, but enjoyed even less success. Northerns tightened the screws with some exceptional fielding, again illustrating the high standard we've come to expect at the IPTs. The angle of attack adopted by the Northerns bowlers made it difficult for KZN to score freely as the batters got bogged down. Disciplined fielding also meant stealing a single was hazardous. Northerns continued to apply pressure in the field. With the bowlers' tails up and the fielders alert to any attempt of a single, KZN were kept rooted to their crease. Pressure was beginning to tell, and KZN must have been wondering if they would be able to register another win over the opponents they'd beaten before. Their previous encounter was also a low-scoring affair, but the Northerns' batting lineup was not one to be trifled with. They'd previously posted the highest score of the tournament with a mammoth 134 against Easterns. Fortunately, KZN was able to dig themselves out of the hole they'd gotten themselves into. Dealing in boundaries and singles, Stefan Schenk notched up the highest individual score for KZN, accumulating 17 valuable runs while he was ably supported by Sanet Fourie. With Northerns faltering after the assault from the previous pair, renewed discipline was required. The final batting duo of Julie Humsveld and Richard Freiling struggled to get going as Northerns intensified their efforts. The loss of regular wickets didn't help either, but having weathered the early storm, KwaZulu-Natal began to claw their way back into the match. The defending champions managed to post a respectable 62 runs in their 16 overs. It was not just with the bat that KZN were willing to put in the hard yards. Their fielders put their bodies on the line in an effort to restrict Northerns. Despite KZN's best efforts, Northerns started solidly. However, a promising first over was quickly replaced by hardship as Sunker, Stadler and Schenk came into their own with the ball. The effort in the field was also yielding dividends as KZN were quick to pounce on run-out opportunities. Northerns were beginning to fall behind the required rate and attempted to up the tempo, but there was simply no way of doing that. By the fifth over, Northerns were running their innings in the red, and the IPT title was slipping further away. Some acrobatic fielding prevented an almost certain boundary as Northerns failed to put their foot on the accelerator. Scampered singles slowly but surely got Northerns closer to positive figures, but they were still far from the winning total. Runners-up in 2009, Northern Gauteng seemed destined for the silver medal again. They were making a valiant effort of chasing down the total, but time was not on their side. With KZN already clutching the trophy with one hand, their mood began to lighten, and there was even time for a theatrical celebration following another wicket. The final stand between Zubair Yusuf and Nadia Simpson was the most fruitful for Northerns. The pair profited to the tune of 26 runs, with Yusuf top scoring with 16. The heroics came too late though, as they were unable to rescue their side from defeat. In the end, Northerns ended on 26, handing KZN another title by a comfortable 40-run margin. KwaZulu-Natal were by far the best team of the week, scoring 759 runs while conceding just 249 in their 8 matches. Yusuf ended as the leading wicket taker with 27 and second on the list of run getters. From the excitement of the Mixed Opens final, we now shift our attention to the Ladies Open Division final. KwaZulu-Natal were again represented, while their opponents in the title match were Eastern Gauteng. The standard was again of the highest quality, especially in the field. The KZN ladies continued to ram home their advantage with some sublime skills shown in keeping Easterns from running away with things. Easterns topped the log with 9 wins from their 10 matches, with their only defeat coming at the hands of KwaZulu-Natal. Hot on the heels of Easterns was KZN, who were only 3 bonus points behind their rivals. KZN might have finished second, but they were well off the pace set by Easterns, who dominated almost every team they took on. They scored well over 100 runs on 8 occasions, with their lowest tally being 82. They looked well on course to surpass that as they kept slowly but surely adding to the total. KZN were doing their best to restrict their opponents, but runs were flowing freely by this stage. All they could do was limit the damage as far as possible. Some sloppy fielding, though, was not helping their cause, as Easterns looked set for another score of well over 100. KZN did manage to take the occasional wicket, and in doing so limit the damage being done. Overthrows off the last delivery just rubbed salt into the wounds, as Easterns posted a healthy total of 91 in their 16 overs. After the break, see if KZN can chase down victory in the ladies' IPT, while still to come on Action Sports, it's the turn of the men in the Opens IPT. We're back at the Action Cricket Arena in Midrand for the final of the Ladies Opens IPT between Eastern Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. Easterns batting first made an imposing 91 in their knock. The Easterns' attack found their line and length early and made it difficult for KZN to get the ball away. Bowling straight proved highly successful for Easterns, as KZN struggled to get their run chase off to a good enough start. Once the batters began to apply themselves, they were rewarded for their efforts and slowly but surely began to chip away at the total. Easterns appeared to have lost their killer edge, and it began to show in the field. But cheered on by their vocal supporters, Easterns found their rhythm again and wickets began to fall. At the halfway mark, KZN were behind on the required rate, but not out of things yet. However, what was required was calm heads and continued application. But they tried to force the issue, and in an attempt to up the tempo, lost their way. That seemed to spur Easterns on, as immediately there was a lift in the mood of the players and a vast improvement in their fielding. KZN weren't about to lie down without a fight, but as the required weight spiraled out of control, it was boundaries that were needed. However, KZN were only dealing in singles and not making the sort of inroads required to pursue the victory total. They gave it a good go, but finished 21 shy of victory on 71. It was then the turn of the men's final between Central Gauteng and Northern Gauteng. Central went into the match as favourites, having already beaten their neighbours.
It's going to be the toughest game we've had so far. They're obviously out. We beat them twice in the round robin, so they're going to come at us hard, but we're prepared for it and give it our best.
Northerns finished runners-up following the week's play with 6 wins from their 10 matches. To snatch victory from Central would require a monumental effort, as their opponents advanced to the final undefeated. The Central attack was doing a good job of restricting Northerns by using variety in their deliveries. It was absorbing cricket as the pressure began to mount. Northerns were forced into making mistakes and poor communication led to run-outs. Feeling the pressure, the batsmen tried to hit the bowlers off their lines, but Central were unwavering.